Floyd Mayweather is the most dangerous fight for Tank Javante Davis. And the reason why I'm going to explain that to you, it's not going to be something that I'm here to debate. This is boxing, so it's a teaching moment. And a lot of people will jump the gun and say, oh, well, Floyd's old. Well, what I'm going to break down to you is something that most of you don't understand about boxing. So, with 5 generations of boxing under my belt, I'm going to explain to you the 3 reasons why fighters lose fights. And every time I break down the 3 reasons that fighters lose, that video goes up, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, and does 1 million views because people are enamored by me saying that. How can it only be 3 reasons why people lose? Here are the 3 reasons. And this is what Javante Tank Davis will need to understand about boxing and the levels. Because when you have someone who's already done the entire walk for you, like your parents, you don't have to worry about what you're going to eat. Will you have lights on? Or if you're going to have a ride to school, because see, they got that covered because they've already done it for you. They understand how to cook food, they understand how to drive a car, they understand how to pay bills because they work for the money. So they have to teach you that. Now, if you have a parent that dropped out of school, it's going to be hard for them to teach you how to go to college. If you have a parent that never worked a day in their life, it's going to be harder for them to teach you how to be a dedicated worker. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely. But lo and behold, these 3 reasons are always going to be a part of it. And some of you are thinking, how can it only be 3 reasons that a fighter loses? Because that's what happens when you understand how to break down the sweet science and understanding of boxing experience. You take something that's complex and you make it simple. You have to make it ABCs, 3rd grade level to read. That's what's so unique about when you get to a particular level. So here's all 3 reasons. So the 3 reasons why a fighter will lose a fight is: number one, first, it's all about incompetence. The incompetence is lack there of skill set development or inside of the corner. Incompetence in the corner and in the gym is a direct reflection of not having the qualified people in place in a system of operations, the way that it has to run. Because a lot of you have very, very good trainers, right? And a lot of you have people that will come to bat for you. They have your back 1000%. But what they don't understand is that boxing is just like running a company like IBM and like Apple. There has to be positions at those companies. And most of the time, people don't quite understand what their positions are as far as the way the company will run, not the way that they stand in front of the fighter and do their roles, but how does the company work run succinctly? Okay. That's a direct reflection of what will happen when the corners, there's too many voices, there's too many people speaking, and there's not enough listening going on and direct connect to the first person who has the voice. All right. And that's what you're going to see a lot of. There's going to be a direct impact from the skill set development of a fighter. He's going to learn all of these techniques and all of these different skills and not understand how to put it all together as you go up different levels, because different levels are different requirements. Now, let's just say you have a lot of skills in athleticism. Athleticism does not directly impact or reflect how good your skill is. More than likely, the better athletically you are, the less you will work harder to own and possess that skill set. And so, therefore, number one, incompetence, whether it's at the ring or inside of the gym, there's always a divide. Number two, Here is when you speak into lifestyle. You see, one of the things that Floyd Mayweather would always say about Adrian Broner and Javante Davis is they were not loyal to the game. And loyalty means not just because I got in trouble, I'm going to act right, but I live boxing. I run from the strip club. I never put anything in my body that is going to impact my performance. Andre Ward was on the record saying, whenever you get in a tough fight, see, I'm going to find those beers you drink, that liquor you drink, that weed you smoke, because it's going to come out when I bring this smoke. And so that's one of the things that people don't understand. Another form of lifestyle is overtraining, building too much muscle. Because, see, one of the things that people think is I have to fight, so I have to build all this muscle. But they don't understand with every ounce of muscle that is added onto your body, that muscle drinks oxygen. And if you're at an optimal VO2, that means your body can probably suck 47 liters of oxygen a minute, right? So every ounce of muscle you add, it drops it down 44, 39, 33. Next thing you know, you're siphoning only 28 liters. And that's the size of someone that's totally out of shape. You get what I'm saying? But the body, because the body doesn't know if it's fat or if it's muscle, it just knows it's on a strenuous decline. And so that's why you see so many fit wrestlers pass away, big bodybuilders pass away, because they don't understand that the heart does not understand clearly that the weight isn't about fat or muscle. It's just pressure on the heart. So hopefully that makes sense and it lands. And so you got guys who want to look the part, but they can't perform the part. You can't name a fighter that went up in weight and had a whole lot of success by adding a lot of muscle. There's not a guy out there. Evander Holyfield is the exception because of the size of his bones. All right. He got the neck of a person that's 300 pounds. So therefore, he could carry his muscle up. And these, what are we talking about? The exceptions to the rule. That's just not something that happens. So that's another thing fighters do. They strain to have weight to lose weight, because guess what? Fighters don't understand dieting. Understanding that dieting has to be a part of your lifestyle. Starting camp and having to lose 24 pounds, it's not a training camp for boxing. It's a weight loss. You're playing the biggest loser, like the television show, the reality show of The Biggest Loser, where they just lost weight. That's, you have to lose weight. Bernard Hopkins was on the record saying that exact same thing. If you come into camp and got to lose 20 pounds, you're not learning boxing. You just have a personal trainer to lose weight. All right. So your preference is turned around. Your objective is not in the right place. And that's the second reason why people lose. Lifestyle. And number 3 is EQ. And one of the things that I know that Javante Tank Davis is going to bring into the ring if he goes heads up against someone like a Mayweather is that he's going to be emotionally vested in knocking his head off. Do you think that's the way to go into a fight with someone like Floyd Mayweather? Absolutely not. But let me explain something outside of the 3 reasons that fighters lose fights, because that's real and no one can deny it. You can't argue it. If you do, there's more likely chance that you're not 5 generations in and you don't understand anything about real boxing at the highest level. For those of you who don't know who I am, I was born into boxing, so I had very little choice to decide if I was going to be in this game as a trainer, as a coach, running gym operations, running promotional operations. 5 generations I've been in this game and have changed my positions throughout the years and have the experience of working directly with and under the tutelage of multiple world-class legends in the sport. And what you're going to learn is that you got to always be humble until you're out of the sport because you're going to continuously learn that there are levels to this thing. So when you are in that position with over 40 title matches, and not just in boxing, I've helped with MMA fights as well. I'm talking about against guys like Conor McGregor, not some no-name dude. All right. So I want you to preface all of the situations and scenarios that go on as you go up. And this is one of the things that I speak to when it comes down to what I see Floyd does have still. When I saw what he brought to the ring, see, he's a teacher. And why him being faced off across the ring with Javante Tank Davis is going to be such an interesting conversation for you. And you guys are going to love where it lands in the end. And you don't see this coming because I'm going to break it down. And the surprise is at the end. So in the next 6 minutes, you're going to learn some things that'll change the way you look at boxing. Oh, shit. I don't ran over my 10-minute time limit. This thing was only supposed to be 10 minutes, but I got going. But I got to tell you a story about this is what when you learn from somebody that's grassroots. So we had just got back from a big fighting event. Well, we were heading into training camp for a big fighting event. And so I just noticed all the time that my coach always waited to the very end of camp and he would do this one circuit of combinations. It's be the only time he would do pad work where you see all of these guys that every time you turn around, they got a set of pads in their hands, and every day they doing pads. And so I'm gonna be honest, I was scared of my coach. I mean, he was the real fucking deal. And then when you talk about the upline of then Kenny Adams, and then over here you got George Benton, all these guys out from Philadelphia, and here I am, some old kid from the South. But I got the nerve up one day. We were at this place called Mayflower. So we were sitting there and we was doing lunch, and I afterwards we had a thing of wine. His thing, he had his favorite thing called wine time. Anytime he get done with work, he would never have anything before he trained. But afterwards, he had his saying called wine time. So we go have a drink. And this was religious, Chianti. That was number one on the red wine list. So we got a couple of sheets in the wind, and I had to ask my built up the courage. I said, yo, because I notice you always only do mitts once. He said, look, cuz, let me tell you something. You see, you got to understand, man, boxing manifested in Philadelphia and Detroit. I mean, that's the facts. Y'all know it. And if you don't, then you ain't been there. But he said, all these guys, man, he said, I watch them. We go to all these tournaments because he coached amateurs and, of course, the Olympics. He said, we go to all the, and my other mentor coached in 80, 84 and 88. So two of the greatest Olympic teams other than 76 ever. But he said, I done coached all these levels. I done won all these medals. I done trained all these world champions. I'm going to tell you something that these son of a bitches don't know about boxing. When you know what you're doing, when it comes down to training the fighter, see, the boxing is all about boxing. All of that other stuff, we call it program mediums. All of that mitt stuff, that stuff ain't about what happens in the ring. It's about what you know how to do with what you got. Because we had guys that were winning titles, intercontinental. We had WBC intercontinental, WBC world champions, multiple. And at one time, people in there, and he was running the same regimen and routine with them. Simultaneously, swept in the nationals. I mean, swept at Bragg, went to the nationals, smoked it. Like all of this stuff was happening with this same recipe. So I said, "How in the hell you doing it?" And then he just said, "It's just the things you don't know." See, what happens with trainers is they compensate for what they don't know. So if they weaken an area, they compensate in another area. So, and not to disrespect anybody, but if you're doing miss all the fucking time, that means you are lacking somewhere else because it's too much muscle memory that you have to develop. There's never been a guy fighting in a fight that's doing like this. You never seen it. Okay. So you're developing and basically wasting time doing something that is actually not going to be replicable in the ring. You can't repeat that. So we need to encompass muscle memory that you do use in the fucking ring because you use it in the ring. And I started learning a lesson about it. And but when he did them because he had hands like mittens and pow, he's pop, pop, pop. And when that guy got that one, maybe 2 days of that mid training and the combinations I noticed, and he said, I got here are the mid combinations I do, and here are the combinations he will use. And what I do with them in mitts, I'm gonna do on fight night. And that shit worked time and time again. And so who am I to question some man who had been in the game 50 years and his mentor over 60? And so, but that's the ego of a youngster. What I'm going to do for y'all waiting, I'm going to give you guys that exact mid circuit. It's going to have the punch numbers, and they're not the ones that you guys use. It's legitimate, a different circuit of punch numbers that you can let your guys throw the combination. So that's my experience coming up. And I was talking to Andre Durrell from All the Smoke Fight, and he also learned that when he was fighting, that he would throw, combinations, and then he was coached by the 2004 coach too, which was my coaching. He was just in disbelief when he found out that we were, and it was just crazy. But I'm telling you, man, when you learn this fight game, it's going to take your mind, it's going to take your body, it's going to put you in a position that everything that you're learning, just like I'm filling my brain up with too much stuff. So if you want to see exactly what I learned from now 135-year lineage, just type smoke. And not only will you get that, but you're going to see the system and sparring that we did. That little gift is going to be for you for nothing. This is free. You just get this stuff. You take that and you start using that. Use those punch numbers and then try those combinations. I'm telling you, it's not going to be like nothing you've done before when you simplify the game and do what will work at the highest level. So that's all I got. Thanks again. Special shouts out to all of my brothers in the School of Boxing, Top Trainer University. We try to keep it popping. We got special things coming this week. So keep it locked. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you go check out our stories. We try to keep you guys informed in our stories over on Instagram. And check out the YouTube channel if you like to get those skill drills. But for right now, continue to follow for more and type smoke. If you're on Facebook and Instagram, follow the link. If you're on YouTube, we got you covered, man. Use that, abuse it, and be winning in boxing. So long. And to see the rest of that video, just hit replay. We'll get you the full replay. Peace out, guys.